What's up, folks? So I just wanted to include everyone in kind of my plans. I haven't been too vocal about it because, personally, I haven't known what I should be doing. But as, people are giving me the resources and I'm talking to certain people and seeing certain things, it's getting much more clear. And so as things get clear, I just want to tell you guys what I plan to do with the Star Show community, what the future looks like for me involved with the Freak Sense community in Mexico and eventually even Texas. I have a few friends, if I can get them together, I want to start something in Texas. But the whole thing, the whole reason this video was sparked, was this sister, or I guess auntie is a better word, called this auntie named Sharon, and I won't share her last name, but essentially she called me and she was kind of asking for some guidance and some help and, I guess minor, health advice and so and so. And essentially what we came to realize during the discussion was that the area that she's in, the environment that she's in, is giving her hell, essentially, and that she's not appreciated in environment, nor is she being, nor can she appreciate the things in her environment, right? Because people are not giving the love she deserves and the love and respect she deserves, and in the same sense, she has no one to love and respect. So, I know there are thousands of people like this, and very few. And our sister, or my auntie, was a very key woman because she is listening to Charlie. She's listening to me, and she basically knows that. And I brought this up, that what's lacking is a reciprocating community, is a reciprocating environment, is an environment where you can let your guard down and really be free, right? So immediately I was thinking, hey, it's my responsibility as a guy who wants to do this thing called Operation Lighthouse. It's my responsibility, and I'll be completely frank with you guys. She has some kind of a like a retirement fund or something like that. But essentially, she's like paying rent and she has to pay for her food, and her food isn't sourced in the best of manners and all these kinds of things. This is where Star Show needs to step up. This is where the Star family. This is where you stars need to come together. We need to come together, and I'm going to champion coming together, right? That along with many others, that we need to be the ones that, like for instance, as an example, I can cook for her a quinoa special or a garbanzo flour omelet, right? I know how to make these things, or alkaline bread raised with sea moss, and then a week later, after doing the more heavier foods, we can do like a fruit cleanse. It does nothing has to be rigid and settled. But the point being, if this auntie had an environment that was reciprocating to her, that she could offer a contribution in whatever ways, just being herself, or in those monetary aspects, right? Because she doesn't really need the money as much as an environment that is safe, that is moral, and really, in my point of view, the utmost important is that is absent of poison. Because what that will do is take away the conflict, take away the hell in her life. Because basically, she wasn't doing too well with her neighbors and different kinds of things like this. And yeah. So again, I think it's Star Show's responsibility. Me and Roger were talking about getting some tents started up and some, just basic homes and different things. Again, it's our responsibility to create that environment where we can be adequately loved and respected for who we are. We can reciprocate, and really a place where you don't have to be anything was kind of what we were talking about. That the whole world, you have to be something. You have to strive to do this, do that. But I want to create a place where it's 100% natural, right? That you don't have to be told to do anything. That what you're doing will come out naturally, right? Cause and effect. So again, if there's an absence of fruit, if there is an absence of access to healthy living electrical foods, you're going to be, the life is kind of going to be kind of dead, right? Whereas if you have access to that, then naturally, people are just going to be healthier. Naturally, the good soil, all of this minerals and all of this iontophoresis is going to go towards the adequate individuals and the adequate organisms. And naturally, when there's an absence of poison, people are going to heal. There's no choice in the matter, So that's what I kind of envision as Operation Lighthouse. And this is, again, just brainstorming, just getting the ideas out to you guys, is that me and Miraji definitely want to spearhead something in Portugal with the help of the people that are on the frontiers, Pineal Foundation, doing a bunch of sourcing their own food, sourcing their own clean water, hemp clothes, like just in every regard, in the trust and how they set it up, everything. They're very much pioneers. And so my plan is to take that, optimize based on our own community, do our own thing, right? And really put no hybrids and iontophoresis plants at the forefront of it all. Because if you cover nutrition, if the nation can be fed and fed with the correct nutrition, right? Have no sense of malnutrition, there can be no malpractice, right? So champion these things. And then again, long-term, bring these codes and whatever is applicable, whatever is not, right? Bring these learned lessons back to the Freak Sense family, back to Mexico, and also Texas, right? Nothing established there, but I do have a few friends in America, who are very much with this self-sustainable movement and, getting away from the government and the authoritarianism and really, focusing in on autonomy or sovereignty, right? So
again, just to give you kind of some more details, Justin and Aaron are coming back, so I intend to Frickville, and I intend to speak to spend time with them, do some community work with them, whatever it is, right? And then after, I intend on going to Portugal, kind of as a substitution, because I was helping the community in certain regards, mostly animal help, really. Just help with the cats and the dogs and the loving them and caring for them, and nothing official, nothing special, right? Yeah, now that role can be kind of exchanged, cambiar in Spanish, right? For these strong men that are coming in, and I can be relieved. And in my relieved duty, again, I want to explore, I want to do the Freemason thing, I want to go on the frontiers of man's psyche, really, because when we're gathering people like Sharon or whatever, and all these different folks, whether it's older people or whether it's super younger children, like you were seeing on the other video, like Utulu or Phoenix, or even Kundi, who's even super young, but again super online, right? Or again, the elders of the community. We have a responsibility to help them and to, again, allow them refuge, SOS, right? Save our ship. We are Operation Lighthouse. Now, and this also is important to outline the facts that we're not 100% physically settled, tangible. We don't have an infrastructure going just yet. So in the beginning, we're going to need funds. We're going to need resources, whether that's food, whether that's building materials, whatever it is. And of course, that's going to need money, or it's going to need people who have these things, and we can bypass money. So already generous people are contributing to our cause. I've already, some people have already been helping me finance my trip. So yeah, that's just where we're at. So again, the realities of the situation, I was talking to Sharon and saying, it's going to be kind of like a tax, but essentially in the future, we want not to even be based off of money or this exchange of fake value, it's just in the beginning, there are certain realities that we need to get going and get to a point where we're detached from money. And then when we're detached from money, then there will be no need to, ask people when they come into the community, what do you make? What's your income source like? And hashing out like how much we're willing to, or how much we're going to take, or if we're not going to take any, or all these things. So again, I'm just specifying that in the beginning, it has to be in such a manner where when we first get the infrastructure set up, we need a lot of monetary support, that's for sure. But I want to structure it in such a way where towards the end game of it all, we won't need the money as much. We'll have someone who can make hemp bricks, we'll have someone like me who cooks the quinoa, rice or whatever, or wild rice or whatever it is, and makes these omelets or whatever. And we'll have someone like me who takes care of the dogs. And that's the other thing. Even if the dogs aren't so closely in our homes and all of these kinds of stuff, I would love to have an area where dogs can just run free. And we have like 3 dogs that are just the community dogs, and because dogs do a lot of healing work. Like, we don't know how much healing work these dogs are doing. They're just impartial observers. They're awesome. So yeah. And and there can just be different people doing different things that they love, that they're good at, that it's natural to them. Some people write poetry and share their poetry, whatever it is, right? And just coordinating with especially the younger folks that need to be taking care of the older folks, right? What can you contribute to the community? Are you willing to do some more like labor, for instance, planting, right? We're going to need lots of fruit trees until the vapor canopy hits, right? All of these different things. We want to plant all the ancient grains, the camuts, the quinoa, but also the fonio, right? I don't know if it's possible, but the fonio, the African grain, one of the most nutritious grains in the world. We want to be able to get access to that. Just anything that has ancient value, right? I want to be going to the Portugal natives, asking them, what fruit trees have been here? Do you have access to some of these amazing fruit trees that were here before all of the bullshit, right? That are more likely to have mineral iontophoresis processes going on. If not, we buy iontophoresis plants. We use them for healing, for teas, all these kind of stuff to supply the 102 minerals. And then after we use that leftover iontophoresis plant matter, boil it to a goo and just pour it into the plants that potentially are hybrids and don't go through iontophoresis. But because you've boiled the minerals down into an iontophoresis water, dissolved kind of just water-based minerals, the plant can absorb the water, even though it can't break down the solid because it's a fake plant. Even if we do have fake plants, if we're, again, watering them with iontophoresis minerals, we can get all the healing benefits from them, right? Even if they're not completely original, all of these things. And then again, we just focus on the herbs, on getting the natural herbs and then reusing them. And then same with our permaculture and our poop and all of this kind of stuff. If we're eating gold, we're crapping gold. It's just, one man's, I'll coin a new thing here, right? A man's trash is a tree's treasure, right? A man's waste is a tree's treasure. So with that equation, right, we want to no starch in our foods, right? No cyanide, nothing inorganic, right? Mr. Cho foods. Once we're eating only those foods, we will only be putting those foods back into the environment, back into the permaculture. We will only be feeding the dogs these foods, right? And on the dog front, I'm up for discussing if a dog can go vegan or not, or all of these things. But till now, when I've tried to only do fruit for dogs, it didn't work, right? And now that I'm doing fish and fruit separately, and you can go into the dog diet, you can ask me about it, you can do a health consultation on this. But what I figured out again is Sebi's fruits, Sebi's diet fruits on different days without fermenting, and then one day I dedicate to fish or low fat whatever animal that's in nature, because naturally they don't have high fat. That's a recent development. That's a human development. That's an artificial development. Animals in nature don't grow to be fat, right? So different kinds of different things like this. I want our community to be the forefront and really to work with other communities hand in hand and find the best and really the most simple way to live, really. And here, let me show you a diagram that one of the sisters posted.
So yeah, the good reset, which is the real reset, which is the inner reset. The inner reset is the real outer reset, right? The reset out there. And it's real simple. And so I kind of posted this on my social media saying, some people are afraid of simple. You know, some people are afraid of just simple beauties. And that's what we want to harness and bring back. And really to live minimal. Oh, looks like my dogs are onto something. Free, no. Free, come here. Don't be eating lizards on fruit day. Free, come here. But anyhow, but yeah. So let's see. What was I talking about just now? But yeah, that's kind of just a general update. I think I'll be in Portugal on November 14th or 15th or something like that. It would be lovely if you guys can support us on the way. And, you know, for those people who are really interested, please reach out. You know, those people that are really dedicated to radically shifting their lifestyles, right? And really, I'm going to be a champion of no method, right? So I'm sure we'll do, you know, breathing exercises and just regular exercises. I'm a big believer in regular exercise, right? Like Christian Murdy says, we don't have to call it yoga and make it the spiritual thing, but just exercise, right? Just doing exercise right can be spiritual, right? These kinds of things, don't make a too big deal about it. And again, no method. For me, meditation is not something that is done by a method. You know, if you're planning to meditate, you're not meditating. You know, you can't premeditate meditation, right? So you can't enter meditation with thoughts. I'm going to be a big person who balances these so-called spiritual community activities and says, you know, which activities that we're doing here are just pretense, really. They're just loaded with all these terms and concepts we use, but day to day, our actions are completely conflicted, and we're constantly, creating. By looking to solve problems, we're constantly creating them, right? So, almost a non-interventionist approach, right? So, how can we get to a place where, again, how can we get to a place where we're not doing, where there's almost no effort, and no effort doesn't mean there isn't someone working in the fields, all these things. But when I'm caring for a tree, or when I'm planting this, when I'm doing that, how can I do it in such a way where there's no effort, where it's just natural? When I eat a bunch of tomatoes or eat a bunch of seeds and I poop it out, and I dig a hole and cover that hole and water it and let a tree grow. How can all of this just be natural? That's what I think I want to focus on this community, is cutting back, like my role in it all is cutting back all the unnatural activities, cutting back all the forced, inorganic, yoga, meditation practices, breathwork practices. I'm the guy that's going to say, yeah, breathing is important, meditating is important, yoga is important, but sometimes you don't have to do them intentionally. That when I climb a tree, I'm doing yoga. When I'm out there just eating fruit, spending time with my dogs, I'm breathing subconsciously, deeply, and it's a joyous, miraculous experience. It's not something I'm doing. It's almost like it's happening to me, and I'm letting it happen. So this kind of area, I think we'll need to work on. But just a general, just things that are running through my mind and things that I'm thinking of, and I'm so excited, and again, I'm so excited to take in brothers and sisters who really have no one in their lives that are just like us, just like these nomads and these conspiracy theorists, and the black sheep of the family, to create a space where that can be harnessed, and also to have kind of an outer area where it assimilates into the organic space. So to kind of have a space outside of the organic area where everyone there is committed, and everyone there is not living in perpetual conflict and war, can be protected from even those who are just entering the community, and to have conditional meets and such and all this kind of stuff. And I want to avoid at all costs of being an exclusionary group. You know what I mean? So I want to have an outer area. And part of the outer area can be like an alkaline electric restaurant
where the outside inorganic world can socialize with the organic people. And that, you know, for instance, for a year, you know, you show us what you're like when you're living, you know, you show us what you're interested, what you can contribute to the community, so that we can gauge and see, you know, and especially with like getting the parasites out of the system. You know, like for instance, right now I'm doing mostly papaya and banana. Like, can you do these prolonged fruit cleanses, you know, or are you impossible? Because then we would want you in the outer area, just because, you know, you're not as serious as a different person who's able to go completely without, like for instance, cooked food, at least for like what, 3 days, a week? Because some people can't do that. You know, some people have to eat cooked food every day. Some people have to eat every day. So somehow mitigating and managing these different people that are at different stages of their journey. Some people are all in, some people are not. So to have kind of an all-in community, and then a community around that, that's beautiful, that's great. But just people that are a little bit less concerned about, whatever it is, right? Whether it's eating right or all of these things. And what this will also allow to do is we'll be able to bring in locals and slowly decondition that way. And so really it's a deconditioning a shell, right? And then the middle would be the people that are unconditioned, and not just a concept, right? We want actual people that are facing their conditioning day to day, and then being an example and an organic leader for those that are outside of this unconditioned area. So they're conditioned to see, okay, that's what I should be doing. And that's the other thing, is I am going to prevent at all costs of there being gurus, right? We can have specialists, we have knowledge, people that are knowledgeable in certain fields. But again, outside of the field of knowledge, it's not that important. Knowledge is not that important. So stressing these things or making these things apparent, that there's no guru, there's no Caesar. Just like the Numenorians, we don't bow in Numenor, right? Or we don't kneel in Numenor, right? Everyone is equal in that sense, where common sense above all else, right? Which includes genetic and anatomical consistency, which includes biology, which includes all of these things, nature, everything. So yeah, I mean, this is I don't want this to be too long, but these are just my brainstormings of where I want this to go, how I want to bring back what I've learned to my God family, which I consider, Justin, Aaron, Shaney, Colleen and Charlie. How I want this to help the community at large, those guys out there, or those people out there like Sharon, who need someone, and at the same time, we really need them as well. You see what I'm saying? And to connect, to make a connection that way, and all these different things. So everything's happening in a perfect, timely manner. People are contacting me, I'm contacting them at the right time, and it's just happening. So I'm very excited, and yeah, let's just do what we do best, which is be humanity, be mankind, just be good, forgive, love, be done with conflict, be done with needing to create problems, just be done with all of that, be done with the trauma. And how are we done with the trauma? We face the trauma, right? So we collectively create an environment where we're not running from what's wrong, but we're actually facing them, right? We're facing the deepest and the darkest issues, and without bias, which means everyone should be able to come to their own conclusion. And so again, in this organic center, in this organic core, all of those people will not be eating hybrids, not because we tell them to, but because they know so themselves. But we have to be very cautious that those people in the middle, or the people at the core, the core leaders of the outer realms, that they are investigating on their own, right? That they're not taking anyone's word for it. They're not doing this guru worship thing, but they're actually investigating and inquiring in their daily lives, and they're confronting the conflict and the fear and the contradiction and all of these things within them. And these people are the core of what I call Operation Lighthouse, that my grandpa tried to do, creating churches in walking distance for everyone, right? Everyone in Korea, right?
And for me, it's more about, again, organic living. It's more about how do we return to what is natural, which is no effort? How do we return to a lifestyle where we're not creating any mucus, where we're not creating any extra work necessary, that the work is natural, so there's no work at all. When you do what you love, it's not work at all. So how do we live doing what we love? That is Operation Lighthouse, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited, and I'll see you out there soon.